Hello, and welcome to episode 11 of Straight into Options.
Hey, hey, hey.
I'm your host, Swing Pony.
This is Rippy Too Hard.
Hi, guys. So, episode 11, we are going to discuss 5 ways to stop overtrading. This is a universal issue, especially in the land of, retail day traders. It's something I'm still battling all the time. I know Drippy deals with it himself, so it's an important topic and we are excited to discuss it. But before we go there, let's get into a little bit of market chatter. How was your week?
Oh, tiring. I mean, this market is so difficult to just like sit through trades and just like every day is worse than the next one. So
What
I
you
don't
mean
know, like,
the fact that we gap up or down and then we spend the
yeah,
day
it's just
going in
choppy.
the opposite direction or we chop all day?
And it's like fake outs, the patterns are not working well, or even the
Mhm.
sometimes like the flow is misleading. So and like the news like doesn't make sense, right? Like for example, we had pre-CPI sell off, so that day was great. I was in short position and it was going great, and then like next day CPI was really bad. Of course everyone was expecting it to be better than the last time. It was worse, and guess what, market decided to gap down and rip. Like, it
Yep.
doesn't make sense.
Look, the one thing I've learned from this market is if it were common sense, if you could gauge the reactions, then we would all be rolling in the freaking dough.
Right. Yeah. Like for example, I was short. I mean, luckily it worked out for me because it would gap down. I took some profit at the open, and then I was like, okay, I will see. So it was breaking down the key levels. Like we had a breakdown of 37, 50 level, right? And that was a key level. And it guess what? Fake out again. And I was like, geez, like come on.
You know what
Uh,
was interesting? So last CPI, which you and I had a whole episode on it called Romo, the regret of missing out. So
mhm,
that was when we had the day before CPI was released, we had that big box breakdown.
mhm,
And so I was sort of remembering that going into the CPI for this month.
mhm,
And it was interesting because, we did get that breakdown. I did get some beautiful SPX puts, which naturally I sold too early, but that's okay. Um, and the one thing I noticed that was different though was last time we sold off all the way into close. Like it was full blown bloodshed all the way into close. But this time we had a nice recovery at the end of the day. So that was interesting to me because it was sort of like, history doesn't always repeat itself, but it does rhyme.
mhm.
Um, so that made me really curious about what the CPI day would look like this time around. Granted, last time we were in a huge box consolidation. So naturally, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the move, which would explain,
Mhm.
how drastic that move was. And, it's always very expect the unexpected with, the events that we're looking forward to and the things that everybody's like, oh, of course CPI is going to come in flaming hot. Like, I
But
know
a
what I'm
lot of people
spending.
were actually thinking it will come out better than last time because the oil prices were down.
Mm,
So that's why we saw this nasty sell off pre market after the data was released. You saw ES move from like, I don't even know, like it was down big.
yeah.
And I was so happy with my short position because I was like, wow. I mean, we moved on ES 38.72 to 37.52. So almost a 100-point drop pre-market.
They have all the
And
fun pre market, don't they?
right, and then what? Guess what happened? It reversed sharp from there.
Yep.
So it's like what? Like it's like
You
hard to make
just,
sense of this anymore.
yeah, you just can't get set on any form of expectation because
Right,
that's the moment they're going to pull the rug on you.
right. So and then it's like like so there's different mindsets, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, I should have held longer because it moved so much, and then sometimes it reverse on you so hard that you're like, damn, I should have scalped it, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
becoming very challenging to switch your hat between scalping and
Yes.
like like trend trading, and which is making things very challenging for someone like me because I am trend trader, and for me, I love to hold my place for more than like, a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And in this market, it's challenging to do that. So now you're like, oh, I missed the gains, then you have FOMO, and then you start over trading. So
Yeah, it's very I think a lot of us are being tested in a lot of different ways.
yeah, market is definitely testing everyone's patience. And guess what? I mean, those who who have patience to not, like, get into everything and anything will survive this market.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I posted something about this the other day, but it's very easy as well when you're scrolling through your feed to see
Hmm.
everybody posting gains and think that everybody's doing incredibly and that maybe you're the only one having a hard time with it. Trippy and
No,
I are here to tell you that that's just not the case. This is a
no.
hard, hard market. And, you
Yeah, this
know,
is this is really challenging market for. I mean, I don't consider myself like a expert in it by any means. I don't really have like a like a s- like a lot of experience, I would say, compared to veteran traders. But from what I have traded in the past, this definitely is the most challenging market because there's less volume in the market. So anemic, like it makes you cringe.
yeah, and I think another thing that's been a really big shift because I'm certainly no expert, I know enough to talk about a few things and I like learning and sharing my experiences as I go along, but we came from a hot ass sexy little market, right? We were all making insane gains. And like for me personally, I went from swing trading to having to adapt in day trading options, right? And it kind of gets to a point where you're used to making a certain amount and you have to be able to adjust for what the market is offering you
Hmm.
and sort of level set your expectations to what the market's giving. And I think it can also be very easy to like not make what you're expecting. So you spend even more time behind the screens trying to chase a certain amount of money. And when that doesn't come, the right thing to do would be, you know what? This market environment is not the market environment to force anything in. I'm going to take a
Hmm.
step back. I'm going to let the trade come to me. I'm going to be patient. But what happens when we get challenged like this a lot of times, whether it's, drippy, like you said, I like to trade the trend, but then it's a scalp day, but then I'm mind fucked because last time I sold too early and it could keep going. And what do I do? And it's going the opposite direction of what the data says. I think when there are times like this where we are sort of signaled to take a step back a little bit and take it easy, what we can often do is try to double down and try even harder. And that gets a little messy, not only in terms of the size of your portfolio, but also your mental capacity.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
something I've tried to be really aware of. And that's why I love the topic that we're going to talk about later.
Right. Yeah. It's not really a day traders market, not a swingers market. This is more, I think, a market for futures traders. Like, futures is the way you can, make big money because all the big moves are happening quick in pre-market, and futures traders are just like, taking advantage of this because they are piling on in during the futures, right? Future session is up pre-market, or you can trade SPX pre-market too. So traders are like those are actually making decent amount of money. So this is where, the thing where it's like understand what market behavior is comes into play, because
Hmm.
for day traders, people who like to trade after the open, it's not really something which is working out well, because it's low volume days or fake out days or choppy days. It's really great for option selling, because I've been doing that. Like, I've been kind of trying different strategies on zero DT option selling, and still learning, but they work pretty good.
Yeah, there's always different avenues. But also if you're like struggling, it doesn't necessarily mean switch your whole strategy, jump into something new when you could also, just hang tight and be a little bit more selective. I think
Right,
that's something a
100%.
lot of us can do.
Right, like if you're not a pro trader, or if you're not day trading every day, it's better to just sit. For me, it's like I'm learning new things because this is my everything. you know
Mhm.
like that's what I do. This is what my life is about. So for me, I want to try different things, And I've been thinking about this strategy for more than a couple of months now, and now I want to see it, test it.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that's what I'm
excited to
doing it.
hear about it.
Right. So there's a ways to trade in the market, but it's not necessary that
You
day
have to
trading is
jump
the
from
one.
one thing to another.
Yeah, and it's not necessary your strategy will work in every market condition.
Can we talk about the price action on Friday?
Garbage.
Oh my gosh. They had that range down to a T until, I don't know, was it the last 20 seconds
Yeah, like
where
max.
they freaking broke through resistance?
Yeah, spy max pain was 380
380.
between 385 to 386, and we closed at 385.1.
My gosh, all day they teased us with that range, the whole day. And then in
Whole
that
day was in range.
final minute,
Yeah.
they broke the resistance. I'm telling you, that was one of the days I painfully sat there for the whole thing. And afterwards, I got very fortunate because I just so happened to buy 3860 calls that went in the money. I've never had,
Nice.
that kind of experience with SPX where I didn't sell beforehand. I'm
Hmm.
normally like, oh man, shit, that went 20x without me. But this time it finally worked out. But I'm telling you, I would still trade it back to get the brain cells that I lost watching that price action.
Yeah, same with me. And I was actually telling on my Discord that, yo, I think the market will close, like bullish, and I think that will close at high of day. And I kept saying that, and until like 350. And I was like, oh man, I'm done. After all that, I was like, geez, I cannot
Burnt
handle this
out.
anymore. Yeah. And then next thing it rips.
That's how it goes. One thing I
Yeah.
thought about to myself too with like CPI and well, I love doing a good strangle on FOMC days, but I think too, if you sense that you're getting sort of a bias or an expectation with price action, it's okay to be aware of that and sit the day out too, because biases run very heavy in this market right now, where every single event we feel like should be associated with the move, the big move. So
Yeah, I
just be
mean,
aware of your biases.
It's been 3 weeks of consolidation on Spy, so it's everyone is getting anxious. 3 weeks
Mm-hmm.
is big. It's 20, like 3 weeks is like what, almost 15 trading sessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh man, 15 days of watching this price action.
For
Give me a
sure.
break.
For sure. We do have an interesting week coming up because earnings are starting to heat up a little bit. All the fun ones are starting to roll in. So, the ones that I'm very excited and keeping an eye out for are Netflix, Tesla, American Airlines, Snapchat, and Twitter. And it's kind of fun because it's like there's one on a different day. So it's like, yeah, each day is going to have a little event to look forward to.
Yeah, I think definitely next earning. I'm also looking forward to the earning season, and I'm paying a close eye on everything. Pretty much just interested more from a perspective of understanding what the economy is doing,
Hmm.
not just trading.
Yep.
And Delta Airlines didn't have a great earnings. Some banks had good earnings. Most major banks, they actually didn't have good earnings, and all of them were stop share buybacks. And guess what? A spy ripped all this time because of buybacks. Like,
Mm.
every company buying back their own shares creates this illusion that stock is going up, but in reality, who's the shareholder? The company itself, right? So um now there are no buybacks, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I know one of the really hot ones everyone's looking forward to. And I want to say, just like you, I'm more curious from a economic perspective and less from like I'm trying to lotto player earnings, because
Hmm.
very few and far between do I ever, play any of that. I get more excited just to watch the candles, and see what happens after hours or pre-market. But Netflix will be a really interesting one because in last quarter's guidance for Q2, they forecasted a 2 million loss in subscribers. So it'll be really interesting to see because in a way, some of that could be priced in to, where Netflix is at right now. And if the numbers come in better, who knows? Maybe it could even rally a little bit. I don't know. I'm not here to predict because if it were obvious, then I would make bank. I'm not a fortune teller. But, on the other hand, there's a Barclays analyst who just said that they are predicting that they're going to lose up to 2.8 million subscribers. So,
Hmm.
Netflix is going to be a really interesting one to watch.
Yeah, I think Netflix is going down more because it's overvalued, and I think there's too much competition now. Like in everything in Netflix, there's way too much competition, and people are losing interest in shows. Like I don't remember last time I actually watched a show on Netflix. Like all the good ones are the ones people are watching on repeat, and
Uh-huh.
once The Office was taken out of Netflix, just a couple months after that, the dump started. So I think that,
Unpopular opinion, I hate that show.
oh my god,
And I don't use that word lightly. I hate that show.
no, no.
That's mean. I don't hate it. Look, here's what I'll tell you I don't like about it because my brother loves it.
I
He
need to
watches it on
reevaluate
repeat.
this
I
podcast.
know, I know. Look, I think because I worked in an office environment for so long, to me, there's nothing funny or joyful about watching people in a overly brightly lit office. Like that's not how I relax and unwind. It always actually makes me like uneasy and stressed out because it's just not how I want to spend my downtime is like being in an office. So that's my reason behind it. But don't
Right.
get me wrong, I've seen it in the background and I've let out some giggles here and there. I try to cover them up, but they come out sometimes. So it's a little funny sometimes, but you know.
But in whatever the case may be for Netflix, I think that it's so oversold that people might think that, okay, it's so oversold, and like, maybe we should just buy it now, because
Yeah.
what if it rips, and what if it's good? And last time people thought the same and it dumped. So
Yeah. We'll
those
see.
who have been burnt twice, will they buy the shares again, is the question we need to
Mm,
ask. So I'm thinking more from a big money perspective, is like, what are they going to do, get burned again? Or um because like yeah, it's tricky.
yeah.
A lot of people will be interested in looking Netflix sub 100, cut half from here, $80 puts. Um, would
Wow.
probably have some open interest, I'm guessing, before
Yeah.
the earnings. So, yeah, I think I'm more interested in watching Costco earnings, and some healthcare names. United Health has great earnings, really solid earning report on United Health, and stock is near all time high. So if that continues, I'm watching Pfizer. Like Pfizer earnings are coming, and look at the consolidation on Pfizer chart. If you have it on your phone or
I
something
haven't
like
looked in
that,
a while.
look at the weekly chart of Pfizer. It's just absolutely stunning chart. Um, it could go down too, but it's weekly squeeze to the upside.
Yeah.
Chart is in a pennant. So earnings will definitely, we'll see what happens.
Well, J&J is coming up too.
Yeah, J&J had a lot of put activity on options flow market. So
So yeah,
we'll see.
either way, fun earnings ahead. We will see what happens.
Hmm.
But let's go ahead and get into the topic.
Right. So let's talk about this, something which is personal, something which has haunted me. It still haunts me from time to
Yeah.
time. Is overtrading.
Yeah. 5 ways to stop overtrading. And look, here's what I'll say is one of the hardest things about trading, right? Because everybody says, know your rules, have your rules, follow your rules. We can all come up with rules all day, every day, right? It's the following them that's hard.
Fuck the rules, I will full port.
Fuck the rules. Well, look, I mean, oh God, here comes Drippy with his financial advice again. I'm not affiliated with. Um, but coming up with rules is easy. We can all do it. We all know what we're supposed to do, but it's your ability to set rules and actually follow them that creates a level of self trust that is going to be invaluable in trading. Because if you're constantly breaking your own rules, if you're over trading, if you're doing things you're not supposed to, then you're not going to be able to trust yourself when you do see a proper setup because you've burned yourself too many times. It's like a friend who always promises they're going to do something and they break their promise every time, you're not going to have faith in that person anymore. So, how are you going to have faith in yourself if you keep breaking the rules? So, this is something I think about a lot because I still struggle with it. I totally still struggle with it. But I'm trying to keep little promises to myself. And the more I do that, then the more confident of a trader I can become.
Hmm.
So, number one is to set limits. Now, this can take a few different approaches. This can be either you have a max number of trades a day, or it can be a max loss, or it can be a profit goal, or it can be a combination of them. But you could say maybe I'm taking 3 trades today. Once I take my 3 trades, I'm done. That's it. That forces you to be more selective, right? The other alternative, which is a great one, and I wish that I had enforced a long time ago, is having a max loss.
Hmm.
So when I hit X amount, I step away for the day. And I know this is an important one because a lot of times, once we hit a certain number, I want you guys to think of what your number is in your head. What is the number you hit where you're like, fuck it, I got to make this back. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to double down. I'm going to revenge trade. Like, what is it that creates that feeling of anarchy in you? Like,
Hmm.
whatever that number is, you got to stop before then
Right.
because that's where damage is done that you can't come back from.
Right. You can also think about it this way, and I mean, this is just for reference. If I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it's like, think about it that if someone would have put gunpoint at you and like, yo, you got to make this trade, and if this trade doesn't work out, we're gonna shoot you, right? For
Mm,
example,
mm,
and are you going to take the trade just like so? You think you that's how it is. You need to like, like I know this is extreme, but when you're starting out, this is how you can like just like think about it, like how you should have your mental models that if I get one chance, you have one shot in the market to take one trade and
mm,
use $100, for example, to make you maybe make it a game that I have $100, I will convert this to 150, I have one chance to do it. And
mm.
in a Mario game or any other game, you get three chances, right, in a day or in one game. So you have three chances or one chance, you can decide this. And You only have a certain amount of power up. So for example, $100 is the only thing you got so to trade. So you structure your trade around that. So there are ways to do it, and the bigger your account is, the bigger you can adjust accordingly. But
I
have
like
that
that.
kind of, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit
It's a
grotesque,
little
but
extreme, but
yeah.
I like
but
it.
you get my point. Like
Yeah.
let's say that your life is dependent on
Make
on
it
it.
count. Make it a quality setup that you're
Hmm.
patient, you're ready for. Because the number one thing when it comes to over trading is if you are over trading, you are not being selective about your setups. There's
Right.
no way around that. It's just the truth. So, you want to be a trader who's here for longevity. You want to be selective about what you're taking. And then the last one that I want to mention about setting limits, and some people are opposed to this, and I understand why, but some people it helps, and that's setting a profit goal for the day. So, let's say your profit goal for the day is I want to make $200, and if I make $200, I'm done.
Mhm.
I think this is, some people say, oh, that's not good because then I overtrade if I don't reach that, which I understand. But a lot of people also say that helps me preserve my gains. That helps me say, okay, I made my 200. I'm not going to sit around and keep trying to trade and make more money because I want to just be consistent and build and grow my account that way. So, again, a few different limits that you can set. That's either max trades, max loss, or a profit goal. You hit any of them, you walk away.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, those limits, which when people think about, it's like, oh, if I set my limit, XXX will happen, are mostly for traders who are advanced in their career. It's not for beginners. Like, you need to set some limits for yourself because at the end of the day, it's just clicking buttons when you're sitting on the screen. But reality hits when your account goes to zero and you can't trade anymore, which
Mm-hmm.
I have been through. So it's deeply uh, personal. You don't let those feelings surface outside. and you try to ignore those feelings, and you're like, okay, next time I'm going to uh, refill it. Like it's like drugs, right? Refill it,
Yeah.
but then again you lose, and then it becomes a cycle, it becomes a habit, and you never surface those feelings, and you never let those emotions, you never understand them, and you never journal the trades, and next thing you know that um, you have completely given up on trading.
Yeah. No, it's a vicious cycle and it's very possible and
Hmm.
nobody wants that.
Yeah, so be aware of those things. Be aware of your emotions when you're over trading. Like, is it revenge trade when you lost one trade in a day, it hit your limit, or even if it didn't hit your limit, it set your mood bad because everything was perfect in work. Get out of the trading day. Tomorrow is another day, and couple hours come out, couple hours, see a setup. No, get back to your focus on something else.
Mhm. And then number two is going to be to designate trading hours. And I want to mention as we're going through this list, this isn't a do all of these things. It's here are some ideas, see what works for you. So designate trading hours. Drippy, what are some of the strongest trading hours during the day that are the most high volume, most high probability that people could consider?
It depends on what kind of trader you are. So, if let's say you're an option seller, then middle of the day is best for you because price is not too volatile in this market. We are seeing chop, right? So that's best for you. If you're a momentum trader, of course, first 30 minutes is in and out, or last 30 minutes. Um, those are the in this market, those are the only opportunities. And if you're a swing trader, that's a different thing because you might want to skip couple days until key levels break out.
Mm-hmm. Well,
S
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, so it depends on the kind of trader you are, but in generally speaking, um, first 2 hours, last 2 hours is the standard.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Very often, not always, sometimes you get the nice intraday moves, but very often the stuff in between is just fluffy noise. And so if you can, stay tactical and have that mental clarity by reducing your trading hours, because the less time you face in front of a screen, the less likely you are to take a bunch of trades. So by reducing screen time, you can probably reduce trades as well. So that's another option. And then number three is to plan your setups the night before and to set alerts. And this is a really good one because I know we all, sometimes go in with a plan, but then we stray and we're suddenly looking at a million charts, or I'm popping into Drippy's Discord and I'm like, oh, what's Drippy trading? I'm popping on Twitter. Oh, what's Twitter doing? And then you get off track and you're no longer following a plan and it's a free for all.
Right. Yeah, so I mean this is a really good one because in this market things gap up, the levels are invalidated, and then you prepare your watch list, work for hours, and it didn't work out, you get pissed, and you try to force a trade just because you did the work, and you try to reason yourself, man, I did all this work, I got a trade. But I mean, like, I had so many stocks on watch list, and every stock did the opposite next day of what it was in my watch list. Like literally, almost all of them did the opposite of what I thought. And then I just stepped back. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna trade these because it's not the setup I thought it would be, and it's okay. I mean, you prepared, but it didn't work out. So, like, it's like I think like people have this. I created this watch list, so it has to work, up or
Yeah.
down. But it's not true. Like risk reward is a thing, and like if it's not favorable for you, if you think that price action is not something which you like, which is something which you want to be in, then don't get in. I mean, like it is what it is. Sometimes the opportunities won't come, and it's fine.
Yeah, and the other thing I like to do when planning the trade the night before is I'll actually even like jump onto Unusual Whales, or I'll get on the options profit calculator through their site and I'll look based on the levels and the moves that I'm anticipating. So when I
Hmm.
mark my levels, I'll even put like, okay, this is where I get $25 puts. This is where I get, like, even defining it to the point of the strike price can take out a little bit more room of getting distracted and staying more, on focus and within your plan. So,
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I use it all the time too. Like I try to calculate risk reward, and I like try to look at other flow trades and see any one of them makes sense to me.
yeah. And then the biggest thing that I love is setting alerts because it's so nice to just be, on the computer doing your thing. And then you get an alert that the play that you've been waiting for, we're at a key level. How is price reacting? Because that means you don't have to watch the chart the whole day. So,
Right. Yeah. Just set your key levels. And one thing is like also important is when you set a key level, does not mean that you gotta get in the trade. You also have to
mhm.
look at the price action to see like, well, does it make sense for me to enter?
Yep. And the other thing I'm going to say, because I've been guilty of this in the past, don't set too many alerts. Not everything
Oh yeah.
is alert worthy. Okay.
It's my
If
problem.
everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So be selective in your setups. So that way, when an
Yeah.
alert pops up on your screen, you're like, oh shit, this is an actionable moment. I can go look at the chart. I can see if, this is a play I want to take instead of it just creating more noise and more chaos.
You know what's funny is that like all my alerts get fired pre-market.
Of course they do in this market. Gap ups and gap downs and
Yeah.
round and around.
Yeah. So and people ask me, "Hey, all the alerts fired. What to do?" I'm like, "Nothing. That's
Sit
it."
and chill.
Yeah. I mean, the risk reward is not the same anymore, so
Right.
it's not for me.
Right. Okay. Number 4 is actually the one that has been the most effective for me. And that is to step away after each trade that I close out. So I used to take a lot of trades at once. I don't do that anymore. I'll have maybe one or two active trades at a time. And anytime I close a trade out, whether it's red or whether it's green, I don't care how hot the market is at the moment, how many other things are going on. When I close that trade out, I step away from the screen. I try to. I step away from the screen and I either go take my dog on a walk, I stretch, I call someone, I do something to sort of have that palate cleanser. Because what happens if I close out a trade, and like I said, it doesn't matter if it's red or green, I am very prone to sitting there and looking for the next trade. And lo and behold, that's how I end up behind the screen from market open to market close. And I realize I never took a breather in between. I never took a step away to clear my mind and make sure if these trades are like truly worth taking. So that's something for me that I've learned is very important, very impactful, is to just step away. I can come back.
Right.
I can still trade later in the day, but I at least once I've closed that trade out, I need to take a breather.
Yeah, it's about being selective, right? Like when you go to a grocery store, like you don't buy everything.
Unless you smoked some indica and you raid the
Right.
Oreos and the Dorito section and the
Right.
candy
But
section.
but yeah, like the point is that you're selective. You buy things which you are used to and which you like, and which you can use to make something. And it's the same thing in trading. Like you trade the setup which you're used to, which you know how it works for you, and you don't get into like un you never seen a trade setup before like that, and you get in because you were the original trade which you had in mind didn't work out. It's not like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then number 5 is to have an accountability partner.
Hmm.
Drippy and I were talking about this earlier. Like trading can be very, very lonely. And we are very lucky to all, have access to a community. Um, And so within that community, there's probably people, if you don't already have one, that you can use as like an accountability partner. Hey, I'm done for the day. I took my trades. I'm not taking anymore. Just somebody to check in with a little bit and sort of, there's a reason people hire life coaches and things like that, because sometimes having somebody else involved can allow you to be more disciplined, can allow you to be more accountable. And I think having that person in the trading world can be really helpful.
Yeah, I think you need to be. able to rely on someone to discuss these things. Like you're going through something, there's a high chance other traders are going through something. And
Guaranteed.
that's why, FinTwit is nice, because you can read and think about other trades, and you can learn from others, and you can also see how other traders are suffering or with you, or other traders are performing. Like this market is out for everyone.
Yeah.
So be you can always come to your friends arts, like you what I mean is, like your friends at home, they might not understand that, for things like life problems, maybe you can talk to friends, but trading is so contextual, right?
Yes.
That you need trading friends and accountability partners. So you can either use some online tools, like there's some accountability partners, or you can do something like this, right? That I will donate repeat $1,000 if I break my rules. That works fine too.
Oh, well, I want that. I want that. How do we change it to pony?
So yeah, like I can be your partner, accountability partner. All you have, like, I will do this thing where it's like, okay, if you make a mistake, I slap you, you give me $1,000. And if you did great, then awesome, because you follow all your rules. So it
Well,
works out.
I'm a little
It's a
envious
win-win.
of that setup. I'm bummed I didn't think about that sooner.
It's a win-win.
You guys, if you need a female alternative to Drippy that you think could be a little bit more nurturing, a little bit, I won't slap you, but I will take your $1,000, Pony's an alternative as well. Let us know in the comments who you would prefer.
Right. So jokes aside, yeah, I mean, like it's a great way to discuss some things, and um, you can learn from each other. So try to find that buddy of yours, and if you cannot find anyone, then just ping us, and we will try to figure out what to do. Yeah, I mean, um, you can join a lot of free discords. You don't even have to join paid ones. You can join free ones, and talk to other traders.
You know what? If it even makes you feel good, because sometimes this is all I need is to put it out into the world, tweet at Drippy and I and say, hey, I'm done for the day.
Right.
If that makes you feel good, if just putting an item, like just putting a tweet out there makes you feel good, great. Tweet away. I'm okay with that. Tag me in it. If that
Yeah.
helps you step away, then
I,
do it.
I'm not okay tagging about with that, but but like if you have really, like question or life concern with respect to trading, like you're stuck in a rut, always here to help you.
Yeah. So, just
Yeah.
to recap, guys, the 5 ways that we discussed to stop overtrading. The first one is to set limits. The second one is to designate trading hours. The third one is to plan setups the night before, set alerts, and only take those setups. The fourth one is to step away after each trade. And the fifth one is to have an accountability partner. Now, the one other thing that I want to note on here is we are in a very interesting trading realm with, the FinTwit space and the Discords and the Patreons and the overstimulation. Um, be aware be aware of how these things might trigger and impact you to overtrade. Like one thing that I
Mm,
like to do when I'm done trading for the day, I close Discord. I don't even use Discord for like signals or trades, but I have a couple groups. One is yours, one is Sharks. I like to pop in. I like to be a part of the conversation. I like to hear what people are doing. But there's still an element of being tied into those things after I'm done trading that still stimulates me and makes me want to trade more. Same with
yeah.
scrolling Twitter. When you are done for the day, close that shit down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult pill to swallow, because for me it's like in my Discord sometimes you will make more than me, right? And they share gains, and I'm here sitting because I didn't take the trade or I was busy doing something else, and it creates a loop, feedback loop in your brain that, oh, I wanna do that because yo, this guy did it, so I think I can do it too. So
Hmm.
so it's um yeah, like it's a probability game, right? Like 99% of the 90% of the traders are in a losing position, right? And so be aware of that you are probably in that statistic.
Yeah. And try to defy the odds, you know? I think that's what we're all trying to do every day. So these are just some pointers. Let us know if they work for you. Let us know if you're implementing something that's worked for you. Because, look, overtrading is a beast. And, you know, I definitely have my own struggles with it. And I know a lot of other people that do. So
Yeah,
um,
me too.
if you've broken the cycle, share it with us. Tell us what you did. I'm sure
Yeah,
others want to hear it too.
yeah, apart from the cool things which we shared, account every partner stuff, you can tell us what you think can work as well.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, as usual, if you will like, share, comment, give us feedback, all that good stuff. We always love hearing it and we love sharing, you know, this wisdom and spreading it with others who might find it helpful. So we would really appreciate if you could do that.
Yep. And if you're completely new to trading and want to learn a little bit more about options trading, sometime in the future, in the distant future, we'll have a workshop and it will be free. So please do sign up in the link below.
All right. We will see you guys next week on Straight into Options.
So